have multiple lead positions across the Health and Human Services Department and across the county. This specific unit just has not had a lead in the past, so this request at this time is just to have the job description, and we'll offer opportunities for staffing changes. This is not an additional position. Again, this is just approving the grade for the job.
Okay. Comments, action item, anyone?
Mr. Chair,
Yep.
we have a good staff, and I mean, I'll make just a blanket statement for kind of all the things above. We have a good staff, and we hired these people to work through our hiring and retention issues, so I'm gonna have to, I trust my staff, or our staff, and talking with them, at least to this point, I guess their decisions, I'm gonna have to trust, so with that, I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Kruger, second by Schmaltz to consider approving the recommendation from the evaluation committee. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The last item is to consider adopting the updated lactation and pregnancy support portion of the McLeod County personnel policy. We already have a pretty robust policy within our personnel policy. I want to say thank you to Nicole McLean and Carrie Ward for leading efforts in the last legislative taking effect July 1st. There was some updated language within Minnesota's nursing mothers, lactating employees, and pregnancy accommodations law. So there's just a few minor things that were added to that part of the policy. Again, McLeod County is a very supportive environment for parents, and there's a couple of things, mainly mentioning the updated language within that statute, which I have noted in the updated language.
Mr. Chair, move request.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Schmaltz, second by Nagel to approve adopting the lactation and pregnancy support portion of the McLeod County personnel policy. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
From what I gather, I think it's just some maybe improvements to the rooms, or and these things are beyond our control for the most part. I mean, that argument's been had a long time ago. I shouldn't call it an argument, but those decisions were made a long time ago to provide that location. So I can live with it.
Okay. Any further discussion? We'll then proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Auditor Treasurer.
Thank you, Hannah.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Board.
Morning.
Today I have two items. The first is to consider approving a perpetual conservation easement for drainage management and flowage between McLeod County Ditch 11 drainage system and the city of Winstead for purposes of temporarily storing and treating approximately 15 acres of stormwater runoff by means of a constructed wetland. This easement is a requirement of the Clean Water Fund monies that were received in fiscal year 2022 by McLeod County Soil and Water Conservation District to implement multi-purpose drainage management practices within the watershed of County Ditch 11. The easement has been reviewed by the McLeod County Attorney's Office and the City of Winstead Attorney. It was approved and signed by the City of Winstead's Council at its last regular meeting in June. There are no costs incurred by the county to acquire the easement. The project costs are estimated at $95,000. Costs associated with the installation of the constructed wetland will be covered by the Competitive Clean Water Fund grant dollars, which were approximately $50,000 and obtained by McLeod County Soil and Water Conservation District. The additional funding of approximately $45,000 is designated for this project and allocated from ARPA funds.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
And Connie, addressing you as well, but I see Ryan's out there, and could he just give us a quick synopsis of how this came about? I mean, it's a smaller project in the world of projects, but it's kind of important to McLeod County, and we've been working on this a long time, and know quite a bit about it, but Ryan, you can lay it out a little better than I can.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, this is part of our Phase 2 of County Ditch 11 Clean Water Fund grant. This is roughly about $250,000 that we've put into County Ditch 11, into the watershed of this, of Winsted Lake. This is one of the projects that was part of Phase 2 that originally was kind of more of a dream with a platted park that's owned by the city of Winsted that's right adjacent to County Ditch 11. Just so happens that they have a stormwater outfall just above County Ditch 11, so kind of worked out well to work with the city on designing a constructed wetland, which will clean up basically the 15 acres of community that dump into this area before it gets to the ditch and causes problems. And we're aware County Ditch 11 in that location does need quite a bit of work coming into the future, but this is just one step towards that.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Connie and Ryan, especially your staff, I'm glad that this got through. I mean, we talked about it kind of started out tongue-in-cheek a little bit, and it got into a good project. So I appreciate all your hard work with
Appreciate
that.
it.
I'd
Thank
make a motion to approve.
And second.
Okay, we have a motion by Kruger, second by Schmalz to approve the perpetual conservation easement for the drainage management and flowage between ditch 11 and the city of Winsted. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
And as Ryan and Commissioner Kruger alluded to, I believe, I know I've been hearing of this for the last couple of years, and I'm sure the work even was being done prior to that. And hopefully it can be a little bit of a model moving forward on, ditch and how we deal with ditches and clean water in McLeod County. So I'm glad we're going down this road.
I like all the local partners involved and the different funding avenues that were used for this project as well. I think it's very, very impressive and shows a lot about our staff and their dedication to making these things happen. Any further comments? We'll then proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next.
Thank you. Item B is to consider ratifying Sibley County Resolutions 2023-07, 2023-29, 2023-33, 2023-20, 2023-36, 2023-37, and 2023-39 to reconstitute joint ditch authorities respectively for Judicial Ditch 08, McLeod Sibley, Judicial Ditch 11, Sibley, Renville, McLeod, Judicial Ditch 15, McLeod Sibley, Judicial Ditch 15, Renville, Sibley, McLeod, Judicial Ditch 17, McLeod Sibley, Judicial Ditch 19, Sibley, McLeod, and Judicial Ditch 24, Sibley, McLeod, Renville, and for fulfilling all future joint drainage authority vacancies. In 2017, commissioners of the county boards of the aforementioned judicial ditches met jointly for the purpose of establishing joint county drainage authorities and adopting findings and orders establishing new joint drainage authorities, ratifying actions, and then directing further proceedings or the formation orders, appointing initial members from commissioners of each member county. In April of 2022, the county commissioner districts in Sibley County were redistricted, and as a result of redistricting, the following joint ditch authorities were affected and required Sibley County Commissioner representation updates. So JD 08, McLeod Sibley, District 2 replaces District 1. JD 11, Sibley, Renville, McLeod. District 3 replaces District 4. JD 15, McLeod Sibley, District 3 replaces District 4. JD 15, Renville Sibley McLeod, District 5 replaces District 4. JD 17, McLeod Sibley, District 3 replaces District 4. JD 19, Sibley McLeod, District 3 replaces District 1. And finally, JD 24, Sibley McLeod Renville, District 3 replaces District 4. A lot of JDs and big words there.
A lot of realignment there for the seats, so.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Connie, you laid it out pretty well. I mean, but it basically, for the layman, it just, Sibley County redistricted, and if you look at the maps, the only ditches affected are the ones that were changed districts and changed commissioners. So with that, I'd move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second? I'll second the motion. We have a motion by Kruger, second by Wright, to consider ratifying the Sibley County resolutions as listed in the packet to reconstitute the county ditch, or excuse me, joint ditch authorities. Any further discussion? We'll then proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Connie.
Environmental Services.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
3 items for your consideration this morning. Number A is to consider a sketch plan request by Con and Diane Sorensen for a buildable parcel located at the northerly part of Lot 7, Auditor's Plat of the south half of Section 30 and north half of Section 31 Hutchinson Township. The Hutchinson Joint Planning Board heard this request and recommended denial at its meeting on June 21st, 2023, due to the following reasons. Number 1, the county tile line in the current location limits the use of the lot. Number 2, the current tile line is in need of maintenance. Number 3, the applicant did not appear and was unable to answer questions in regard to this application. The applicant is not here. They were notified that it was being forwarded on. Not sure if they received the notice or not, due to them being out of town. The issue that we have here is there is a tile line that was moved. It runs through the middle of this lot. Staff does believe that the lot is considered hard to farm, but due to the fact that there's maintenance required on this line and the location of it, it does limit the usability of the lot.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Very familiar with this, obviously, it's in the district I represent. Thanks for the planning commission, joint planning commission sending it back. But the tile got moved, it shouldn't have got moved. We need to fix a lot of issues before we go forward with anything buildable on there. Not that I'm against building a house there overall, but in the moment, I am. So I moved to, what do I need to do? Deny this request.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion from Nagel, second by Kruger, to deny the sketch plan request by Con and Diane Sorensen. Any discussion on that?
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
And, or did you want to go first?
Go ahead. I'll follow up.
I mean, what I looked at, there's been some mistakes made there, and that it really doesn't matter. It was made hard to farm, if you go look back at the evolution of the area, so that part is just, I'm just noting that, but at the end of the day, if the applicant would work with the ditch authority, I'm sure that we can get this done. I mean, disappointed that no one shows up from the applicant, because it's pretty easy fix in my mind that we could go through with it. I'm all for building or for economic development, which housing is in McLeod County, but there's some things that need to be fixed. Thank you.
Just bringing forward the discussion from the meeting. Yeah, it is a little bit of a confusing one, what to do with that tile line, but there is a process as laid out in state law, how you relocate a tile line, and that needs to happen. And so pretty well everyone was definitely on board with that as a major issue that needs to be resolved. And so that is the majority of the reason why it was denied. I did talk with our ditch inspector. We need to get that to become a meeting, or at least come back here for a workshop to see how to frame that meeting up. There are some things that we absolutely need to resolve, and if we're going to move that tile line again, that'd be done properly. And again, it's all laid out in state law. We just need to do it through that process. So that I think once we at least know where we're going, I would assume that the applicant would have no problem, should be able to come back, and I think that it would be approved at that point. But without knowing what to do with that tile line and for sure who's going to pay for it in that process, the committee was pretty solid on that. It needs to be denied at this point. So,
Mr. Chair?
Yep.
But probably the most disappointing for me is how long it's taken. And
Yep.
this has been something that years, and it's just very frustrating. So maybe this will speed things up a little bit.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
And I totally agree with Mr. Nagel and the chair that this has taken too long. I have talked to our people, and in my opinion, again, and what I would push our staff is if they can't make an agreement, we need to fix that tile.
Should have
I
been done
mean,
2 years
Should
ago.
have been done a long time ago. I mean, you can't hold back the function of that tile, so it's not a big costly thing. Our people have the numbers on there, and I'm disappointed that it isn't already done, but it isn't, so I would encourage all people concerned to get their self to a table and figure this out and get her done, because we need to fix that tile.
Okay, anything else, anyone? We will then proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries to deny.
Item B is to consider approving application RZ 23-01, that is a rezoning application requested by Randy Redmond, Remax Results, representing his client EFN Enterprises LLC, Fred Pollock, to rezone the east 13.11 acres of parcel 14.035.1200 from agricultural to B1 highway business in order to construct mini storage units. This property is described as that part of the north half of the northwest quarter of Section 35 in Winston Township. Megan DeShepper, Minnesota Department of Transportation District 8 Principal Planner, provided comment with regards to State Highway 7 property access. The Winston Town Board recommended approval on May 11, 2023. The Planning Commission recommended approval on May 24, 2023. The McLeod County Board of Adjustment approved the variance request to reduce the feedlot setback of 2,640 feet half mile to 2,310 feet in order to rezone a parcel from agricultural, and that should read B1 highway business on June 22nd, 2023. So the reason for the delay in it coming in front of you from the Planning Commission was in regards to that variance. McLeod County zoning ordinance requires that all rezoned highway business or industrial property meet a half-mile setback to a permitted feedlot. The feedlot in question is Allen Auto. It's Auto Brothers Associates. They are in the corner of Highway 7 and County Road 9. This did not go in front of the feedlot committee, and the reason for that is there is rezoned property kitty corner from the feedlot directly to the north and east, which is incrementally closer than this one. The other reason for that is I did speak with the feedlot owner, Allen Otto, and he has done some estate planning, if you will. So he split the building site off from the tillable acres. His brother lives directly to the west of that corner lot, and there is changes to that feedlot registration that will occur within the next 2 years. So with that being said, what I'm getting at is that feedlot may go away, that permit may go away. So with that being said, Randy is here, Jan Hawkus. He does, I believe, have a purchase agreement on that. If you're aware of the mini storage units that have gone up out on Highway 7, just east of the proposed roundabout on 7 and Babcock, Jan and his group has done that. And this would be an extension of that, prepping that land just to the east of that creek for future mini storage units, similar to what he has there. The comment from MnDOT on the access piece is there is a change of access that is required. There's a field approach to this piece, and regardless of what we do, that field approach would have to meet the standards for that change of access for this, and there's a review that has to be done, but that can't be done until this body acts on the rezoning request.
Okay. Discussion, anyone?
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
And to try to enlighten the board a little bit on the property, we already have some existing storage units to the west of this parcel. I believe that we started with the units that were built, I think it's 2 years ago. I think there's some additional units that are going up right now on that same parcel. Am I correct, Mr. Redmond, on that? So this request involves a parcel now that sets to the east toward the auto farm, with, again, the intention of putting up more of the storage units. Am I correct on that, Mr. Redmond? Okay. And I also want to alert the board that I think we still maintain, I mean, even though Planning and Zoning Director stated we have a half-mile, distance to try and deal with there. I think we're still, we're over a quarter mile away, the way it looks from the feedlot. If the feedlot were still to continue, after they go through the review process. So I hope I kind of covered it for the board.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I may, And that's a great point, Commissioner Smalls. I appreciate you bringing that up. If it was a house to this feedlot, due to the size of this feedlot, it would only be a quarter-mile setback. But in ordinance, we require half-mile from any feedlot to a rezoned highway business, which is commercial or industrial parcel. It is more due to potential increase in activity, but due to the size of this feedlot, it would only be a quarter-mile setback to a home, to a new dwelling. So
And it
there
would-
is a difference there.
And it went through the process to
That
get
is
a
correct.
variance. I'll move to approve the request.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Nagel, second by Kruger to approve application 2301. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Yep. Go ahead, Schmalz.
Yeah, I have not received any phone calls, that are negative about the request, so I'll be voting for approval
Okay.
along with a couple other commissioners here today.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
and I'm on District 7 Transportation, and Megan sees no issues with it other than what Mark said or what's already in statute or how it has to be handled. So I've been out there myself and looked at it. It looks like, storage seems to be a hot commodity, lack of a better word, they do a nice job of keeping it neat, so I'm also in favor.
Okay, the motion is to approve. We'll call for any further discussion. Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item C.
Thank you. Item C this morning is a consider approval of a conditional use permit 23-09 for James McBride to operate an automobile sales business as a home occupation to be known as Jim's Auto in an existing detached 36 by 38 pole shed at his residence located at 22014 Babcock Avenue, Winston, Minnesota 55395. There will be no outdoor storage of vehicles in the public view. All waste fluids will be captured and stored on site in a leak-proof container and picked up on site by licensed waste service. Access does come off of County Road 1, Babcock Avenue. This rural subdivision was platted into a this rural subdivision platted lot is 3 acres in size and zoned agricultural, and it is one of 4 lots in this platted lot, High Point Addition. The Winston Town Board recommended denial on June 8th, 2023. The Planning Commission recommended approval on June 28th, 2023 with the following conditions. There will be no outdoor storage. Number 1, there will be no outdoor storage of inoperable or unlicensed vehicles, salvage material, or other recycled material. Number 2, all waste fluids will be stored inside a building in properly labeled containers. Number 3, all sales will be via internet and delivered to buyer. Number 4, any intensified change in use will require a new conditional use permit application. Number 5, all business operations will occur in the designated screened area or within the building. Number 6, the applicant shall possess and hold a licensed Minnesota automotive dealer's license. Number 7, hours of operation shall be Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Number 8, the business will be allowed 5 licensed operable vehicles on site at any given time. And number 9, a live screening plan shall be used in place of the fencing submitted on the business plan with the application. The screening plan shall be approved by the McLeod County Soil and Water Director and planted by June 1st, 2023. We did notify Winston Township, their chair, Tony Hausladen, and the clerk, Shirley Carlson, in regards to what the Planning Commission's recommendation was to this body. I have not received comment on that yet. That was done via email. The concerns of the Winston Town Board at the time were in regards to the potential of something like this getting out of hand with it turning into more of a salvage type of environment. And we do regulate salvage yards in ordinance, so it is defined in ordinance very explicitly. So the concern is there, if it did happen, we would be having a conversation with the applicant prior to it potentially getting out of hand. So with that being said, there are businesses in this area, both on the north as a trailer service business and on the south as a boat repair storage unit. And both of those have gone through the conditional use permit application as well. Mr. McBride is here if you have questions for him. He did a nice job putting his business plan together, so I do appreciate that.
Okay. Go ahead.
I didn't know if you wanted to say something first, but at any rate, I know we have one here in town, that's kind of like this, and it's worked well. I think there's safety precautions for the concerns that are out there. I did talk to Mr. Hausladen, and I wish they'd have put their concerns in their denial, because I normally go along with townships, but I don't know, for some reason, they weren't put down specific, because I think we addressed them all, and everything now is put online. Personally, with the safeguards in place, I think it's good to start, give this new business a try. With that, I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Kruger, second by Schmaltz to approve the use permit 2309 for James McBride to operate an automobile sales business. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
I happened to be at the Winston Township meeting that evening when Mr. McBride brought his application in before the town board. Yeah, the intention, I mean, I can't speak for the Winston Township Board, but I do believe that their intention was, because of maybe a lack of information and a lack of finality as far as the permit goes, they were very congenial to Mr. McBride. We also informed him, that the Winston Town Board was basically in an advisory position and not the planning and zoning. And knowing that, I think everyone in attendance knew what the process would be, and hoped that those concerns would have been brought out at the planning and zoning meeting, which I believe they have been. So with that, I'm going to be in favor of the request. And I think the fallback is we're talking about a conditional use permit here. If something happens outside the permit, we can call it back in. Am I correct on that, Mark?
It is correct.
So that's what I have to say about it. If there are any questions, maybe I can help the board with it, but
Mr.
That's it.
Chair,
Yeah, go ahead.
just one thing that just came to mind as Commissioner Smalls was talking, there was some concern about the live fence, or the live fence in versus screening versus a fence. And as small as 5 cars or whatever, as small as this is, personal feeling, again, it looks nicer than a fence to me. I mean, if it was a big yard of some kind, I can understand it, but that's my personal feelings, and just that was part of the, excuse me, town board's concern, and I think we can address that as it goes along with the other limitations on it.
That's what they recommended, was live fencing. I just, coming from Minneapolis area, I'm used to 6-foot chain link and et cetera. That's why, that was my original plan. But yeah, they decided that fencing makes more sense. Not fencing, the screening.
Screening. Okay, well, I think Mr. McBride will welcome a new business to our county pretty well any day. But you understand all of the requirements on the permit for sure?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. All right, any further comments? We will then proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Okay. View of the commissioners' calendars. Mr. Nagel, are you ready?
Yeah, got a little, in the fourth week of the month, got a little light for me, which I appreciated considering other things that were going on. Fair board meeting, some personnel-related issues that we talked about in the board meeting, but the thing I'll bring up, after our last meeting, we had our Board of Appeals and Equalization. That went very well. It's very difficult to sit up here and make those decisions, but I thought the Auditor Treasurer's Office and the Assessor's Office did a nice job laying that out, and I wanted to say thank you to them. So that's it.
Okay. Yep, a lot of activity with the Fair Board issues these days. Budget Committee met, joint planning meeting, and that item came to today's agenda. Not necessarily a county commissioner duty, but yesterday had the honor to pull our McLeod County Dairy Royalty in the Delano Parade, so that was kind of fun. Had to wait an extra half hour for the rain to stop, but then we finally got going, so that's it. Go ahead.
All right, since the last meeting, we had our workshop, and Commissioner Nagel said our Board of Equalization went very well. On the 21st, I had Minnesota Development Commission meeting, and again, setting up budgets and things for the upcoming year. I also sat in for Commissioner Smalls to UCAP. I'm the alternate there, and it's been a few years since I'd been at that meeting, so it was kind of nice to go back there and talk with some of the people that I hadn't seen for a number of years. On the 23rd, I had a District 8 Transportation meeting. I did it by Zoom, and that's as a representative of Mid-Minnesota. On the 26th, drainage check-in, that's our drainage work group. We're trying to set up strategies of a sort or what we're going to do for the upcoming year on recommending to the legislature things to do with drainage. On the 27th, I did a budget committee meeting by Zoom, and on the 30th, agenda review, and I enjoyed the 4th.
Thanks, Commissioner Kruger. Yeah, thanks, Commissioner Kruger, for your report. Like was stated, after our last board meeting, we did have a County Board of Appeal here at the Government Center. And then on the 22nd, Thursday, yes, thanks, Commissioner Kruger, for sitting in for me at UCAP. My assignment for that day was what they call SHAC, the State Community Health Services Advisory Committee. Again, this is the committee that I kind of have taken on an assignment with our CHB, Meeker, McLeod, Sibley. The meeting was held in St. Paul. The highlight of the day was after the meeting was over, we got to tour, or a few of us, I should say, got to tour the state lab, which is also on Capitol Fairgrounds. It's a large building. What do they do with the state lab? Well, every baby born in Minnesota gets a screening test, a blood screening test that's sent to the state lab. They process nearly 70,000 of those each year now. They're looking for not the simple things, but the hard things to deal with health, and that's why they do the screening, to try and head off these issues as a newborn versus trying to treat someone who is more advanced and older, dealing with disease, whether it's tuberculosis or some other, very detrimental disease. State Lab also does a radioactive testing. They were put in action, just a couple months ago with a concern, with the Monticello plant, and they test. They do test some water, but again, they say they're not the only testing facility in Minnesota when it comes to the simple things. They're the testing facility that people turn to when nobody can figure it out. So they deal with difficult issues at difficult times, and I guess that's why they're there, and that's a function of government at the state level. And then last week, there was a roundabout open house once again in Lester Prairie. We're preparing to get the roundabout construction started at County Road 1 and Highway 7. So that particular section of Highway 7 and County Road 1 will be closing here now on the 17th of July, I believe, so that construction can start. Construction is anticipated to last approximately, they say 2 to 3 months. So we are looking forward to getting that roundabout in there for safety concerns more than anything else. Basically, I think it's been proven roundabouts save lives, and that's what we're after with installing a roundabout at that intersection. Brings us to today, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Smalls, they didn't have a sign for me at UCAP, so my remarks went under Commissioner Smalls, so the secretary was new. I just give you a heads up.
Thank you, Commissioner Kruger, and again, thanks for sitting in for me at that meeting.
Anything from Attorney's Office at all today?
Mr. Chair, no, thank you.
Okay. Administrator.
Nothing to add, thank you. Item A, consider approving the updated collective bargaining agreement with the McLeod County Public Works Unit for the period of January 1, 2023 through December 31, 2025. You approved their contract already. We had missed some verbiage about their holiday pay that is updated there. I need approval, please.
Okay, commissioners?
Second?
We have a motion by Nagel, second by Schmaltz to approve the updated collective bargaining agreement with MNP Public Works Unit. Any further discussion? We'll then proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item B, notification of board workshop following the board meeting on Tuesday, July 18, 2023 at the McLeod County Government Center here at 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota. And I believe Commissioner Schmalz, you will be absent from the upcoming meeting. Is that accurate or is that a different date? Are you planned out for July 18?
I'm planning on being here.
Okay, thank you. I thought it was you that would be gone. So just notification of that board workshop. Thank you.
Okay, anyone for open forum today? Open forum, anyone?
I believe Glenn said something.
Did you have something to address the board with at all?
Yes, I do.
Okay, this would be your opportunity. If you please give us your name, address, and then your comment or concern for today, please.
My name is Lyle Granke. Mr. Kruger knows me. I live at 9678 110th Street, Glencoe, 1 mile from here. The reason I am here, 110th Street, McLeod County 3 or Lake Marion Road, whichever you wish to define the road, the quarter mile west of Glencoe, that road is badly in need of repair. And where do I start, or how do I go about this process of initiating this badly needed road repair?
You want to talk about it, or
This road is not far from here.
Commissioner Kruger, you may have
I
some
know
history
just
on
enough
this.
to get in trouble, but I'll address it. That was never, where you're talking about from where the three ends of the construction that we did do in that last mile into town, is that right?
Well, this may be a quarter mile, not a mile. It's probably
Yeah,
a quarter
whatever.
mile.
Yeah, right by the junkyard.
Leave it at a mile for your definition, simplicity.
But anyhow, we didn't have control over that part of the road. It was the city's deal because there was curb and gutter and a number of utilities. There's some other things that had to be addressed, so we couldn't finish that road. And right now, you can go ahead and I can make sure that you get notified of the meetings, or they will be in the paper. We're in the midst with the city on turnbacks and working with them on doing that work, and if we do that, depends on how it goes, that part of the road will be included in that and be repaired.
Do you have a
A date I
time
do not
schedule
have one.
for?
If Andrew was here, possibly, if you want to, you can call Andrew at the county, our county engineer.
You have a
He's-
phone number?
I do, or it's on our website, and,
I don't have a computer.
okay.
We'll get you the number.
And, he can give you some ideas, but it's in conversation. It's part of our process, and I don't know, Sheila, do you know where our next meetings are on the turnbacks, or where we sit with that?
For Bergen, the one,
No, for the city.
no, I don't.
We're in the process because it includes County Road 2 coming into town and Ford Avenue, and I wouldn't be doing it justice if I commented any further than that, but I'm getting a number of calls on a number of these roads, and it's all involved in the turnbacks with the city of Glencoe.
So,
You probably get right for today's business, it's under the city of Glencoe.
Mr. Chair, we can provide Lyle will send you an update in the mail from Andrew regarding the status of those projects with the city of Glencoe to give you a clear understanding of where that's at, okay?
And I think
Do you have my
Stefano,
address?
What's that?
Do you have my mailing address?
I can get it from the assessor's office because I know you got in contact with them, and I will talk to Andrew today and send you a letter.
So, is there a possibility of this heavily traveled road being repaired yet this year? That is a big question.
My best guess would be no.
N-O, no?
No, I don't know that there's enough time to go through the
Yeah.
processes of getting it bidded out and getting done. And it's a better question for Andrew, but I don't want your hopes up there that we'll get it done this year, because it's more than an overlay. And there's more work involved to make it to the standard that number 3 is in. To be as good a road as number 3. I mean, I wish I could give you a better answer. It's not me. Personally, I've gotten calls since the day that road was done, so that was before me even. Any other comments? I
So-
don't know what to say.
So the heavily traveled road that it is, we all have to, all the people that drive that road have to suffer with that road for the balance of this year and upcoming winter, you're telling me?
Yep.
What happened to common sense?
Again, it's a Glencoe City issue.
Mr. Chair, I think that getting a letter from Andrew to give you the information would make better sense, and then you can ask him the questions about it after you have the chance to read about everything, so you understand the process involved.
I agree. Without our engineer here, it's really hard to come up with the right timeline. So we're going to have to let him have an opportunity to give you some correspondence on, potential timelines. But to do that right, to get all the policy work of the turnbacks done properly, it does take time. And I drive over the top of that every time I come to Glencoe, so I know exactly how rough it is.
The road is a mess, a quarter mile.
It is.
It's been a mess since day one, or since it got done, and I know it's hard for constituents to understand, but that's part of the reason that I'm probably more in favor of some of the turnbacks, so we can get that in our jurisdiction and get it done. I mean, there's some issues there that are just because that is a city, that last part of that, where that ends right there, that's actually under city jurisdiction. And we're working on it, that's the best I can tell you. And to be honest, I wish you would vent your frustrations to the city, because they've been the holdup on that.
Give me a phone number and I will vent my frustrations, please.
We can get that provided then.
We will send you the City of Glencoe contact if you have a discussion to have with them, and I will make sure that a letter comes to you by the beginning of next week from Andrew, and that will explain the timeline that's involved in the jurisdictions of each of the roads, okay?
The disappointing thing about this road construction necessity is that it's a very heavily traveled road. I live 1 mile west of Glencoe, and I don't sit in all day and count the vehicles going back and forth. It'd be kind of stupid. But all these vehicles have to suffer with this road that is badly in need of repair. It's that simple.
Mr. Grenke, they've actually done traffic counts, and I will send you the information. I understand you're frustrated. We've heard it's heavily traveled. We're aware of that. We've met with the city of Glencoe. We've had joint workshops. I didn't see you at those. We know the road is in repair, and we'll get the information out to you by the beginning of next week, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For your time. Any other open forum or press relations? Seeing none, we will be looking for a motion to recess.
Move recess, Mr. Chair.
Okay, is there a second? I will second that. Motion by Schmal, second by Wright, to recess until our next county board meeting, 9 a.m. Tuesday, July 18th, McLeod County Government Center. Any further discussion? We'll then proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
You didn't call me.